Monday morning, February 17th, 2003. A security guard at the Antwerp Diamond Centre walks toward the underground vault, 2 floors below street level, and stops dead. The 3-ton steel door hangs open. Inside, 109 safe deposit boxes have been pried apart, their contents gone. Diamonds, gold, jewelry. Over $100 million vanished without a single alarm ever sounding. This is the story of the greatest diamond heist in history, and the sandwich that solved it. Antwerp, Belgium. For over 5 centuries, this city has been the diamond capital of the world. Its diamond quarter, barely 1 square mile, handles 84% of the world's rough diamonds. Billions of dollars in precious stones pass through its vaults every single day. At the heart of this quarter stands a nondescript fortress on Schupstraat, the Antwerp Diamond Centre. Its underground vault was considered impenetrable. 10 layers of security, a combination lock with 100 million possible codes, a foot-long key that was supposedly impossible to duplicate, infrared sensors, seismic detectors, magnetic alarms. The vault door alone weighed 3 tons and could withstand 12 hours of continuous drilling. Insurance companies refused to even issue a policy, not because the vault was risky, but because they believed a breach was simply impossible. In the industrial city of Turin, Italy, the massive Fiat automobile factory had created something unexpected. An entire population skilled in precision metalwork, and some of those skilled hands turned to crime. They called themselves La Scuola di Torino, the School of Turin, a loose network of Italian thieves who specialized in engineering their way into vaults. No weapons, no violence, no confrontation, just patience, precision, and an almost obsessive attention to detail. Among them was Leonardo Notarbartolo. Born in Palermo, Sicily in 1952, he'd been stealing since the age of 6. By his 30s, he was one of Italy's most prolific jewel thieves, visiting Antwerp twice a month to fence stolen gems. And then there was Ferdinando Finotto, nicknamed the Monster for his hulking frame. Finotto was the one who first looked at the Antwerp Diamond Centre and saw not an impenetrable fortress, but a puzzle waiting to be solved. In early 2001, Notarbartolo walked into the Antwerp Diamond Centre and signed a lease for a small office. He posed as a multilingual Italian gem importer, charming, professional, unremarkable. The lease gave him something invaluable: automatic access to a safe deposit box in the underground vault. For the next 18 months, Notarbartolo conducted the most meticulous reconnaissance operation in criminal history. He installed a tiny hidden camera above the vault door. Frame by frame, he recorded the combination being dialed. He memorized the guards' schedules. He tested every sensor, every alarm, every lock, and one day, he brought a can of women's hairspray into the vault. He aimed it at the infrared heat sensor and sprayed. The transparent mist coated the sensor, insulating it from detecting body heat. No alarm sounded. Notarbartolo smiled. The fortress had a crack. Notarbartolo assembled the crew. Finotto, the monster, would be the muscle and the driver. Elio Denorio, known as the genius, was their electronics expert. He ran several front companies and could bypass any alarm system ever built. Pietro Tavano, they called him Speedy, was an old friend of Notarbartolo's, tasked with communications and logistics. And then there was the 5th man. No one outside the crew knew his real name. They called him the King of Keys, an older man, quiet, patient, and one of the finest locksmiths in the world. Using only the video footage from Notarbartolo's hidden camera, the King of Keys studied the nearly foot-long vault key and created an exact duplicate. Then he did something audacious. He stole the original key from an unlocked utility room, ensuring no one would ever discover it could be copied. Before we get to the heist itself, you need to understand what they were up against. 10 layers of security, each designed to stop intruders even if every other layer failed. Layer 1, a combination lock with 100 million possible codes. Layer 2, a foot-long key that was supposedly impossible to duplicate. Layer 3, seismic sensors that detected the slightest vibration. Layer 4, a locked steel grate blocking the vault corridor. Layer 5, magnetic sensors on the vault door itself. Layer 6, external security cameras monitoring every approach. And inside the vault, Layer 7, a keypad requiring a separate code. Layer 8, a light sensor that triggered if anyone turned on the lights. Layer 9, an internal security camera. And Layer 10, an infrared heat and motion sensor, the same one Notarbartolo had already defeated with a can of hairspray. Friday, February 14th, 2003. Valentine's Day. As couples across Antwerp headed to restaurants and theaters, Leonardo Notarbartolo parked his car in the Diamond Centre's underground garage, rode the elevator to his rented office, and waited. By 7 p.m., the building was empty. Everyone had gone home for a long Valentine's weekend. Under cover of darkness, the crew entered through an adjoining building, an abandoned office whose lock the King of Keys had already picked days earlier. They crossed a private garden that no security camera covered, climbed a ladder to a small balcony, and slipped inside the Diamond Centre. Now the real work began. Days before, during regular business hours when the alarms were disarmed, the crew had partially unscrewed the magnetic sensor plates on the vault door and reattached them with double-sided tape. The door looked secure. The monitoring system showed green, but the plates could now be moved. Denorio inserted a custom-built aluminum slab between the plates, maintaining the magnetic field while the door swung open. The seismic sensor, a single wire spliced between its inbound and outbound cables, defeated. The combination lock, already recorded on hidden camera. The foot-long key, already duplicated. The 3-ton door swung open. They were inside. First, they covered the light sensor with electrical tape. Then they turned on the lights. Before them stretched row after row of safe deposit boxes, 189 in total, each protected by its own unique key lock and a 3-letter combination. The King of Keys produced a hand-cranked drill, custom-made, almost silent. He began working through the boxes one by one. All night Saturday and into Sunday, the team worked. The King of Keys drilled. The others emptied the contents into duffel bags, loose diamonds cascading like ice, gold bars, silver, jewelry, watches, cash in half a dozen currencies. When they finally stopped, 109 boxes lay open. 80 remained untouched, including, conspicuously, Notarbartolo's own box. They loaded the duffel bags and vanished into the early morning light. Not a single alarm had sounded. The monitoring system still showed all doors sealed, all sensors green. The estimated haul, over $100 million. They had pulled off the perfect crime. Every alarm defeated. Every camera avoided. No fingerprints. No witnesses. No evidence, except they needed to destroy one thing: the garbage. Gloves, candy wrappers, food containers, receipts, camera film, envelopes from the Diamond Centre. The plan was simple: drive to a predetermined spot and burn everything. But Pietro Tavano, Speedy, was nervous. He'd been anxious the entire operation, and now, driving through the Belgian countryside with Notarbartolo, he insisted on changing the route. They turned onto a wooded road near the E19 motorway between Antwerp and Brussels. And then, in a moment of panic, they simply dumped the garbage bags in the Floordambos woods. The bags tore on impact. Their contents began to spill across the forest floor. They couldn't stop to burn them now. They drove away. Less than 48 hours later, a local landowner named August van Camp was walking his property near the Floordambos woods when he noticed garbage scattered among the trees. He found a strange mix: candy wrappers, international currencies, gloves, camera film, and envelopes stamped with the logo of the Antwerp Diamond Centre. Van Camp had seen the news. He knew about the heist. He called the police immediately. Forensic teams descended on the woods, and there, among the scattered evidence, they found it. A half-eaten salami sandwich, still wrapped in its paper. Notarbartolo's DNA was all over it. They also found champagne bottles with DNA from multiple gang members, receipts, including one for a low-light surveillance camera purchased under Notarbartolo's own name, a crew that had defeated magnetic fields, infrared sensors, seismic detectors, and a lock with 100 million combinations, brought down by a sandwich they couldn't be bothered to burn. 5 days after the heist of the century, Leonardo Notarbartolo walked back into the Antwerp Diamond Centre. He believed he was untouchable. Detectives Agim de Broeker and Patrick Pays of Belgium's Diamond Squad were waiting. They arrested him on the spot. When investigators examined Notarbartolo's safe deposit box, the only one in his row left untouched during the robbery, it confirmed what they already suspected. He was the inside man. The other arrests followed. Finotto was caught in Italy in 2007. Denorio was extradited to Belgium the same year. Tavano was convicted in absentia. But the king of keys, the master locksmith who had duplicated the impossible key, who had drilled open 109 boxes with a hand-cranked tool, was never identified, never arrested, never found. In 2005, an Antwerp court sentenced Notarbartolo to 10 years, the maximum for non-violent theft under Belgian law, plus a €1 million fine. Finotto, Denorio, and Tavano each received 5 years. But here's where the story gets even stranger. Less than 1% of the stolen diamonds were ever recovered. Over $100 million in gems simply vanished, and no one knows where they went. Notarbartolo, from his prison cell, offered his own version. He claimed a diamond dealer named Alessandro had hired the team for €100,000, and that the entire heist was actually an insurance fraud scheme. The problem? The vault itself was uninsured. Insurance companies had already identified its security flaws and refused to issue a policy. Released on parole in 2009, Notarbartolo gave a landmark interview to Wired magazine, then was rearrested in 2013 at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris for violating his parole. He wasn't finally free until 2017. Today, in his 70s, he lives quietly near Turin with his wife, lead detective Agim de Broeker. He was arrested in 2015 for fraud and money laundering, found in possession of illicit diamonds. He was dismissed from the police force. Ferdinando Finotto, the monster, died in 2022 at age 63, and the diamonds, still missing.